please take a moment to welcome Colin. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you can all hear me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm actually very excited. I've been working with Alison over the last month or so and putting together the presentation. I'm just going to present a practitioner's view on the program, explain our journey, and I'm going to provide about 8 tips along the way that I felt were very important in converting innovation into our utility. Okay, so I guess a little bit about where I've just flown from. So that little red dot is southeast Queensland. It has a population of, I suppose, about 3 million, 2-3 million people. In that, we actually service 1.4 million of those. It's a nice area, if you know where the Gold Coast is or the Sunshine Coast. We're in the middle of that. Brisbane is the capital of Queensland. That's where our head offices are. And because of drought, we're actually forced into a distribution entity. So we were restructured following a severe drought. We almost ran out of water. And we were doing doomsday scenarios prior to heavy rain coming in, so we had about 10 years of a dry season. We provide a number of services to our customers, and we've got a lot of diversity in our service territory. So you see those green areas there are actually our service territory. Brisbane's a high density, 1 million plus population. Ipswich is a vast greenfield, so we've got an opportunity to do a lot of work in that space. And then the Somerset, Lockyer and scenic areas, they're actually very rural. So we've got diversity in assets. We've got over 4 billion in assets, over 11,000 miles of pipes. And so anyone who comes to us with an idea or an opportunity, I see that diversity really fits for us to be able to work or partner with someone in some way or another. So we see that as actually quite a great strength. And it's a great place to holiday. So if you want any pointers, I think Jason said he really enjoyed himself when he went to Queensland, and he's a Queensland tourist representative today. Okay, so I heard it mentioned just before Diane said, about aligning to strategy, and strategic alignment is extremely important. And so for us, because we're owned by 5 regional councils under that restructure, we actually represent the customers in the communities. So that's a really great driver for us. Operational excellence or service excellence is where innovation sits for us. And we say that we're going to drive long-term least cost solutions for our customers. So that's where innovation is really driven out of. We have a strong focus on people and safety. And in that, building the blue is about building a constructive behaviour and dealing with disruption as well along the way. Now, we've got a lot of assets, but it's our people which are our most valuable assets. And I'm going to use that C word, culture, all the way throughout this presentation. And vision. Vision was mentioned as well, and I think that's very important, the utility of the future. When that document came out, we all got pretty excited, and I was actually in the strategic planning area at the time, and we were just like, yahoo, someone's actually put a map together, and let's use that to map our own future as well. We've actually come up with our own vision, and so we have a shared vision as well. So strategy is very important to alignment and commitment, and having a single vision. And that's a single vision to change. I'm going to talk to you about our Bens and Darrells. I think the innovation timeline is my first tip. Have a look at where you've come from. Because then that'll help to see where you are, and then you can look at where you're going. The circumplex there, those round discs, the red is really our bends, the very oppositional people. The greens are our Darrells, very much consensus or avoidance in the behaviour. And that little blue dot you can see on there, that's our constructive behaviour. So you could see in 2011, after the restructure, we had a fair old battle to go. We had a lot of bends and a lot of Darrells and not a lot in between. And so that was the challenge for me, I guess, in going forward, was to bring those together. So we had a flood in 2011. The merger, we had no money, no investment in innovation. It was a bolt-together focus. And as far as staff having new ideas and that, they just weren't supported at all. 2013, we're on our 3rd CEO. She had a great vision, Louise Dudley, strong leadership. We needed to support our staff. We needed to provide leadership training. And we also needed innovation. The job came up. I went through the floods in 2011. The role came up. I was looking at organisational resilience. We did a survey. We thought after the floods, wow, we must have been very empowered. We didn't know anyone. 6 months later, we were finding out assets that we had and the like. I thought, well, let's get a survey done nationally. I was at a national level, and I volunteered our organisation to have a resilience attribute survey. Our lowest scores were innovation and knowledge transfer, and that really shocked me. I thought, well, through adversity, we did really well, but I guess all the rules are broken, during adversity, but when it came back to business as usual, there wasn't any of that. So I saw that was a challenge that I stepped into. And so now we're really looking at utility of the future. Our aspiration is to really generate that blue culture. So my second point is, now that you know where you've been and what your journey is, what does innovation mean to you? And going out into the organisation, that word cloud, there's so many meanings for innovation, and it means something different to everyone. And so what you've got to do is you've got to say, well, a lot of people are confused, a lot of people are intimidated by innovation. So what's their definition? And I love the one I think Sal said before. The definition for us, we run our catalyst training workshops each year since inception, 2013, and we let them decide what our innovation definition is. And it is always better ways to do things for our customer. I'm sorry, that was Bob actually that raised that. And it always comes out in some way or another. So it's very important to understand what the definition is. It can be quite intimidating if you don't have clarity around that. And for me, I guess there's for us in our organisation, there's three levels. There's small I, which is business improvement, middle I, which is process or across area improvement, and then big I is new products and services. It's important to explore the past. So exploration, innovation is about exploration. It's not about business cases. It's not about financial success and the like. When you're working with cultures, you're shifting the mindset. You're investing in your people, and it's their journey that's the most important thing. So go back to your past. Have a look at what you're doing. That was our first water storage area in Enoggera in Brisbane. There was the mindset about providing water for the future. The slide below that is Somerset Dam, which is one of our largest impoundments. It holds water for water supply for greater than 20 years of our needs, and it's actually quite empty there. And so we engineered a really great solution. We put the business case together. We said we were never going to flood again in 74. We raised the dam after the big flood and said, righto, we'll double the capacity. So we'll have flood capacity, we'll have water holding capacity. 2010 climate change. Who'd have thunk, eh? You know, and so in that sense, it doesn't matter how much planning and how much thought. Be ready for, expect the unexpected. You always got to be agile. And I like the slide there of that's our control room in the 1980s. And so those really cool groovers with the flares on and the sideburns with that latest computer. Now, when those new navigators come into the organisation, we've got a history line on our boardroom wall. And in there, the kids just have a great laugh when they just see those big square boxes and those little computers. And I think there's even some microfiche there as well. So we're pretty advanced back then. Okay, so in celebrating the past, it always says that you've always been innovative. You've always done things differently. Innovation isn't anything new. It's not anything shocking. It's not anything that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. We've always done it. So in that, I think there's a good example here. It just shows, the different mining skills, how we've moved. There's actually PPE in the second one, which is the first one. I think the old mate's probably having a cigarette while he's actually using the machine. And those toilet blocks there, I don't know if you can see those century buildings. They're actually the outhouses. That 1970, we still hadn't sewered a lot of Brisbane. People were still going out into their backyards to go to the toilet, dropping it into a can, and the dunny man would come around once a week, pick up your old can, take it away, and give you a new can to fill up. So the business case there stacked up that was the best way to service that area. So certainly needed some innovation in that spot either. So sometimes that business case just doesn't work, and exploration is very, very important. Okay, in the organisation, my next tip is antibodies. So the blockers. They're always there. People are always threatened by innovation, aren't they? And so on the right-hand side, I've actually got what I call innovation widgets. And what I say is when you have an idea, you actually add a side to the idea. So the triangle might be, there's three values to that idea. Have a conversation, add another side, then you make a square, etc. The antibody's always threatened by those, and he's always trying to kill those widgets. And so I'll just talk to you a bit about how you break those cultural blockers. You can photo. So we've all got blockers in our organisation, and so that's the definition that you see there. There's 6 cultural blockers. I play innovation blocker bingo when I started, and I'd ring up a colleague and I'd say, hey, I've got this really great idea. I used to lead this area. I know you're going to love it. It's going to really make a difference. And after the phone call, during the phone call, oh, that's not the sort of thing we do. It's not my job. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Bingo, I'd get 4 in about 45 seconds. And so you're always going to cross people who aren't ready for your idea. And so what I managed to understand was that you need to create shared value creation cards. So you need 3 different arguments in your back pocket. And so when you go to someone and you say, all right, well, I've got this really great idea, and they go, I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, then you broker a deal with them to see how can you make more time for them? How can you find them some money? How can you assist in that battle? And then they'll come on board and they'll add a side to your widget. The more people and the more value that you add to your widget, the harder it is to actually kill that idea. And in doing that, you actually identify the sponsor and the PM who are going to own it. So if you charge on your own with the idea and you own the problem, you own the solution, that solution isn't going to meet everyone's needs. But if you work with other people and share in their problems, when you share all those problems, you come out with a unique solution that meets everyone's needs. So that doesn't cost any money. That's just a conversation. So it's very important. And that number 11, we did an accelerator program. We unpacked 5 projects. We made them bigger. We put them back together. We sent people out to do stakeholder engagement. And our organisation, 900 or so people, 11 conversations was the magic number in order to identify the PM, create the shared value, and get a sponsor. But they're in different areas, not 11 people all around in the one workshop, 11 people across those different organisations. Okay, telling stories is the most important thing. So all cultures are driven by storytelling. And our innovation program, it was actually underpinned by the comms plan. The first thing I did was in going out and finding out what we did, what our history was, celebrating recent innovators, past innovators, and then telling people what to do. It's the most important thing. Storytelling, storytelling, storytelling is the best thing that you can do in your organisation. Because when those blockers hear those stories and they go, what a load of twaddle, Colwood's here with this stuff, it's never going to work. Hey, we just heard a story the other day and we're doing all this really cool stuff. So storytelling is very important. So we use the comms plan. We've got a historian now. We found some photos that were archived in our, and some boxes in the transition going back to the 1800s. So we've actually got a historian that actually is capturing all those stories and saving them so that people can get access to them. We communicate through cauldrons. Cauldrons are where we get people together at lunchtime and share information. And we use Yammer and communicate to people what our events are, what our innovation events are and what's going on. And also new information, which is our Urban Intel magazine. So we send out to our staff what's going on in other industries. We've got our stakeholders say, what are the new things that are happening? And what's this new information that's going to come towards you? And I think there's a video. Could you put that on for me? So this is just demonstrating. When we kicked off our program, we started a group called the IQ Catalysts. They were volunteers from across different areas of the business. So they were our value creation people who could add value to ideas that we could brainstorm on. And I said, how do we generate more people to get involved in our cultural program? Yep, that's that one there. And they said, we never see any stories about our people. So this video actually came from the IQ group. And
At Queensland Urban Utilities, we understand that innovation requires time, support and space to grow. The Queensland Urban Utilities Innovation Centre will open this year, bringing back to life a heritage building at our Luggage Point site to create a cutting-edge space for our research and development program. A space for our innovation culture. One of the first cultures we'll be nurturing is one for more microorganisms as part of our energy-saving, Australia-leading Anita-Mox trial.
We believe low-energy nitrogen removal is the way forward for us here in the future. We've been working with the University of Queensland Advanced Water Management Centre to show that the bacteria actually exist here in Australia. We've been growing them for the last 5 years. This innovation centre will allow us to conduct larger, hopefully more meaningful trials, which will result in us having the ability to remove the nitrogen from our wastewater using far less carbon-based energy. This will be great for the environment and reduce our cost to serve, which will be great for our customers.
Innovation also needs time to develop and sharing to grow. Here at Queensland Urban Utilities, we know that good ideas can come from individuals anywhere in our company. So we're breaking down the barriers. That's why we've implemented our CEO Innovation Hour and our IQ group. These forums give our staff the chance to develop, discuss and present their innovation proposals to the CEO and leadership team. We're already implementing 31 innovations with cost savings of $4.5 million, improved safety practices and enhanced service delivery. We are excited that our staff are consistently finding more efficient, safer and economical ways to do things. We want to connect people within our organisation to make small ideas bigger and turn them into reality.
I was really inspired to use existing assets to develop wastewater energy generation. Hydro turbines can convert up to 90% of the energy in water. but that has no value to me unless it's implemented correctly and followed through. That's why I'm excited about the 10 kilowatt hydro turbine installation at Gibson Island. It has the potential to produce up to 80,000 kilowatt hours of energy per year, saving costs and the environment, and will be the first of its kind in Australia.
We're working smarter, not harder, at Queensland Urban Utilities by utilising technology to increase our employee safety.
Till recently, inspecting our reservoirs was a difficult and dangerous task. Many of the sites are remote, hard to access and involve working at great heights. Now, using a HD camera attached to a remotely operated drone, we can access the sites a lot easier and it is a lot safer for many of our staff.
Here at Queensland Urban Utilities, we are enriching the quality of life through innovation. Though we can create a supportive environment, we know that innovation starts with the individual. And that's why we're always looking for staff that are inspired, creative and inventive. It could be you. Queensland Urban Utilities, innovating for the best possible future.
So I guess an important insight into that called arms is that building was an old powerhouse, then became a stores building. It was just full of rubbish, rats and snakes. Then someone had an idea, let's have some sort of innovation centre. They approached us and we said, look, we're happy to support them. Actually, my executive was actually he's the facilities manager. He said we can get that on the books. We'll actually we can throw some budget from the facility to that. And so then it was finding a disused building and repurposing it. And now that's become a symbol for Queensland Urban Utilities around the world. And I was talking to you before about the Innovation Centre, and there's a great interest everywhere we go about what's happening there. So if you can find a symbol that's permission and space, it then shows how committed your organisation can be to it. So that was the prompt. Thanks, Alison. So framework, you need a framework. So point number 6 is a simple framework. And in there, the video showed people can have their ideas, they can submit them electronically or through the paper box. Our IQ members help vet them. D is determining strategic alignment. I is obviously ideation. If it doesn't meet your business needs, don't do it. Put it in the parking lot. The only idea that's ever got through that didn't meet our business needs was, I think I had about 10 submissions for a trading post where the community within work wanted to buy and sell stuff with each other. But all right, well, we've had so many submissions, en masse, let's set that one up. IQ group, volunteers that help vet ideas, add value, avoid duplication and isolation. CEO Innovation Hours are top down, bottom up. People can pitch their ideas around their management. We took out tier 1, 2 and 3 managers and made them the mentors. They can pitch their ideas, they get assigned a mentor, and that mentor is typically that sponsor who will remove the roadblocks in that space. And their journey is then about getting coached by a GM they probably would never have the opportunity to meet. And storytelling and solutions monitored is the next piece. I'll go into a lot more detail tomorrow for those that are there, and I'm happy to talk about the rest of this today. The only thing I can say here is probably no idea is a bad idea. We have people say, there's not enough room in the fridge to put my lunch. They submit an idea, I don't know where to hang my coat. We actually give them an urban spirit card. We reward people. Thank you very much for your idea. And you know what? You could actually throw out some of that rubbish and that old food that hasn't been labelled in the fridge. Take control of that. You can go to facilities management for a new cupboard. But innovation is about, this is what small I is, business improvement. Medium I is about a cross-section improvement. And big I is about new products and services. About 3 weeks later, those people will submit 3 or 4 ideas because now they know. So it's a very important onboarding tool. And I'll talk tomorrow about how much courage it takes to actually come up with an idea. So no idea is a bad idea. Also, opportunities are made. Always look for leverage. All that work that you do and all the effort that you put in, there's something just hanging on the fringe that's going to collide with it. And I think my experience throughout all of this is be open. Ideas do collide. There's a lot of collision. They always seem to theme up for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the climate within your organisation or whatever, but always look at making things bigger and always things seem to complement each other. So our journey has been about our innovative culture. There's a video that we've got online about partnering for success with the AWMC. And I'll talk to that tomorrow about how we're housing $5 million worth of research, and for every dollar we invest, we get $15 return. And extend and reach and global extension is about being here today. And the last slide, never give up. And so if you want to read that, glass is always half full, not half empty. And we get so many awesomeness into our organisation that come through the innovation program. So keep a lookout for them. They're fantastic people. And I had a lot of fun doing this. So all the 8 tips actually work out to be an acronym called ideation. So hope that helps for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colin.
Cheers.
Thank you.